You've got a new survey out, a report on the global workforce hopes and fears survey. How does that compete with some of the conversation topics we were having about the workforce?
Sharon was definitely taking the point of view from a government perspective and a macro policy perspective as we think about labor and the role in the economy that we're seeing today. This particular survey, we touched on 52,000 people. What are their hopes and fears as they think about their employment today and what that future looks like? 1 in 5 come back very likely they're going to change jobs in the next 12 months. So this combination of reshuffle or resignation is going to continue in a big time way. What it points to is they want meaningful work that's got more choice, more purpose, more technology to take away the mundane so they can actually do something that they believe is meaningful. The second thing, they need skills. We have a supply chain issue around the world on commodities. We have a supply chain issue on human capital and labor. We don't have enough of the skilled people in the right places for the right jobs. And last but not least, they come back and say, I want a culture where I actually can talk about the things that are meaningful to me. And there's a lot of issues out there, if it's ESG or Russia, Ukraine, et cetera, where the office may not be the safe place to have those conversations. And their mindset is, I'm talking at home. I want to probably be talking to my colleagues. Give me the environment where it's safe. I can have those conversations as well.
Bob, can I just follow up on this resignation theme? Are workers looking in the rearview mirror, looking at the fact that there's been a very strong labour market, that it can change jobs, there's plenty of opportunities out there, when we could have a recession looming, particularly in parts of Europe? We heard Jay Powell say that, well, hey, what we're seeing right now with inflation, we have to sacrifice effectively the unemployment rate. So that has to go higher. People don't have the jobs they think they have. The opportunities are disappearing, aren't they? Yeah,
it's interesting because I think for the people that have skills, the friction cost to change a job has gone away dramatically. So think about it. If I have the skills and people are after me, LinkedIn is going to identify that, and the employer doesn't have to go searching anymore. That cost is gone. They could do that instantaneously, and they could find the repertoire of skills and experiences that are needed. On the employee side, there's nothing more than setting up a Zoom call to actually do that interview these days. So it's a relatively easy and frictionless opportunity for them to change jobs. You're absolutely right, though, for those that don't have the skills, that aren't going to be in demand, there's a big challenge. And especially with the economic environment that we're walking our way into right now, that's going to be the people that are disenfranchised by the labor market more broadly and the corporate environment that they're in, and candidly may be left behind. And that's where corporate communities and governments have to do much more to think about how do I get the right skills in the right people's hands for the future.
We just played a clip from the tax panel that I just did with the OECD Secretary General, Matthias Cormann. He's still optimistic that a global tax deal at this 15% rate can be done. But I don't hear that confidence from Americans who think it dies on the midterm cross. What do you think happens? Will it get passed in either 23 or 24?
I think we see a lot of clouds for it to be passed in the time horizon that they've been talking about. When you look at the combination of, at a local level, you see some countries pushing ahead very fast, but you're not seeing it consistently to all those that have agreed to this. And the politics at the local level, and for that matter, even the global level, are starting to come in. And the level of detail and granularity, how this is really going to truly work, is problematic for people. So I think 23 is a big risk. I think 24 is a possibility, but it's a lessening unless we can get back to it. The elections in the U.S. is just one small example of some of the consternation that's going to happen on this one.
What does it actually mean for you as a business in the audit space? Because it adds another layer of complexity and regulations and challenges for specific sectors and countries.
It's clear that when you look at this, and this is only one small example of more rules and regulations, and you're seeing this globally as well as locally. So the complexity for these organizations to operate in the global economy that we're talking about now is increasing tremendously, and they need help navigating, and that's where we're spending time actually adding resources to do that. The second thing is if you go back to sort of China against the rest of the world, you're seeing organizations now say, how do I have to set up IT, compliance, tax, for China and China-like countries, and then the rest of the world. So that's another cost to them. And at the end of the day, yes, they're looking for us to help, but they're also saying, if you're not bringing me value quicker because I'm going into a slower economy, I'm not willing to pay. So you better make sure you can deliver the goods right away.